Hey everybody. So today I wanted to give you a brief rundown on perception and what perception is and why it matters. Pretty much perception is the way our brains make sense of the world around us. And psychologists tend to break it down into a three-step process. Selecting, organizing, and then interpreting. So let's talk a little bit about each one. So selection means the way that we, um, choose what to pay attention to. So think about how when you walk into a room and there's a whole bunch of people talking and stuff, you might cue in on someone who's being loud. You might cue in on somebody who's saying words that sound familiar to you. You might cue in on the brightest colored shirt in the room. And so selection is what we decide to focus on or pay attention to. So that's the first step to what we perceive or how we make sense of the world. The second step is organization. So once we select something to pay attention to, we tend to organize it. Most of the time, we organize based on proximity. So people like a group of people standing close together, we'll organize them together, or the things closest to us as opposed to the things furthest away from us. So that's organizing using proximity. Sometimes we organize based on similarity, things that look or act alike. If you think about it, explains a lot of the ways our brains work, the way you just things pop into your head, because we make these decisions on what to select and how to organize it almost unconsciously. And then finally, sometimes we also organize based on difference. If we see something that really stands out from the crowd, if any of you out there have had police or military training, you're often train your perception to recognize things that stand out or don't seem to fit. I remember one time being in a crowd of people and seeing someone moving in a very direct, deliberate line toward me out of the corner of my eye. And for some reason, somewhere in my training back there, I my brain organized that and saw that as a threat, and I acted on that threat, although not fully, luckily, but still turned toward them. And I'm glad I wasn't armed. I may have like drawn a gun or something on them, just because of background things I've learned in the past. So, step one is selection. What we're going to pay attention to. Step two, organization, how we're going to sort of put it together and make sense of it. And then step three is interpretation. So then we assign meanings based on our past experiences and our background. I mean, that can be religious, other cultural beliefs, all of those sorts of things. It's interesting how two people can have see the same event, but they could interpret them very differently. I think a good example might be like if you walk into a room and you hear people laughing, one person might, cue in or select that laughing group and then see that it's a group of friends who are all standing together and then interpret that as people having fun and thinking, oh, I want to get to know them. They look like fun people. And another person might have the exact same um, situation arise where they select the laughing people and they see them organized in a group and see them as friends, but they interpret it as that group of people are laughing at me or judging me. And so our brains really are interesting, and that interpretation really is based on sometimes our past experiences. So the last sort of thing to think about is why does this matter to me in a business context, and why does it matter in a just a broader context? And well, understanding how I see the world can help me either to choose to continue to see it that way or make changes to it, right? Like I said, in military training, we learn to see things that stand out as different. And so we do that for protection and to be able to do our mission. Maybe now that I'm in a civilian world, I don't need to do that or be as on alert. So I can understanding this process can help me make changes to that that are more appropriate. And of course, understanding how we perceive can help us understand how other people perceive, and recognize that our perception isn't always a match for reality, that there might be things that we're interpreting a certain way that may or may not be what the other people involved or whatever wanted us to see or interpret. So as we do this, will become better at meeting customer needs, working with our employers and our employees, and just having better relationships altogether. Anyway, I hope that's interesting. It's interesting to me, and sometimes it's not so easy to break it down like that, but in real context. But anyway, hope that's interesting, and I hope you have a great day.